And we've got the band back together. Yeah. I got a phone call on, not a phone call, I got a line message on, when it's Saturday. Duncan had called me and said, yeah, let's get another podcast together. Why don't you come round here? I thought, oh my God, he's got some sort of terminal disease. Or he's got some spyware set up in my house. Because what I've done in this last week or two is I've built myself a studio. I've got a studio in my house now. Yep. We had a small room that's just off the master bedroom. And I've cleared it all out. I've taken all the shit out. And I've put it upstairs in the attic, where it will stay until we probably move out. So it'll be like a little time machine. Maybe in about 10 or 15 years when we move off to a pad in Thailand to retire, I'll have to clear all that shit out. And I'll remember the day way back in 2023 when I shoved all that shit up there. So I've got it all cleared out. I've got my green screen up so I can put anything I want on that backboard. I've got the lighting set up. Everything's set up, and I was ready to solo podcast. I did my first one last week, and I were all ready. I bought the furniture from IKEA, and then as soon as I got it sorted, Duncan phones me. He wants to jump back on the ship. Yeah, and it not a terminal illness. He's right as rain. So this episode, this is another first for our podcast. We were round at Duncan's house. Now, we went round on the Saturday. It was glorious weather. We were going to do it on beach. And I got there, and I've gone all a bit Bruce Willis. And I'd forgotten a load of shit. I didn't have the leads for the recorder. And I didn't take the stand for the iPad. Like an idiot. So I messaged Duncan. I said, "Oh, I'll be back, but it'll be on Sunday." So yesterday, when I went round, it was blowing a gale all day, like you won't believe. And I turned the camera out of Duncan's apartment to show you weather because it were horrific, and because there's no real barrier between him and beach. His windows were a right mess. So I left him to it, and he has to clean all that up. So here we are. I think what, episode 87? 87 with 13 off the big 100. Yeah, 13 off the big 100. And we talk about, because Valentine's Day happened last week, so we talk about Valentine's Days that we've done in the past. And believe it or not, it might come as a bit of a surprise. Duncan is more of the romantic than I am. Imagine that. So I'll leave you to it. Thank you very much for subscribing. Pass all this on to your friends. Get them to listen. Any comments are appreciated. Here's the episode.
And we're off. And good morning. Or actually, we should say good afternoon, of course. On this windy day. How about that?
Well, I was supposed to come round yesterday. I forgot everything. So I fucked off home.
As you do.
Mad. Got a bit Bruce Willis-y.
Are you referring to his recent claims of dementia and withdrawing from public view?
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Father. Oh, nice tree.
But
yeah, it's easy to make fun of
the jokes will be coming out sooner or later. But
why waste time?
People must be able to hear that wind.
Yeah, it's like a typhoon out there. And you can't even see through the windows. Look at that, isn't that incredible? Looks like a screen in front of my windows.
Yeah, we're in Duncan's house at the moment because I don't. What's up with shop?
Too far, can't be bothered. It's windy.
Right.
I'm comfortable here. to name but a few reasons.
So we're in Duncan's house, and you can't see out at windows. In fact, let me just.
For the listeners, it's just caked up with sand and salt.
You'll have to watch on YouTube, but there. Look at the state of them fucking windows. You can't see, but you can see how windy it is, and it's a bit of a mare out there.
It's good for surfers. There's a lot of windsurfers and surfers out today, but even that, it's a bit dicey. There's no beginners out today, like me.
I had to put my.
It's only got piles. When you sit down, you go, oh.
Yep.
You got piles? Touching a farm?
No. I've got turning 52 next month syndrome.
Right.
Yeah.
52.
But yeah, I had to wear my reading glasses on the way here because the sand were blowing in my eyes, and it was the only way to get sand out of my eyes.
I didn't think you'd make it. To be honest, today. That was extraordinary. I was doing my little online work and listening to that wind outside. And I mailed you during a lesson saying, this guy isn't coming along. Are you coming in this typhoon?
And here I am.
And here you are.
Through thick and thin.
Now, the interesting thing, which is very interesting, the beach, what happens in this weather is that all the sand blows up the beach. So there'll be a mountain off the beach of sand near the road. But the actual beach will be sort of barren. It looks like a desert with all stones. It looks very rough. So tomorrow, the local council sends down a couple of bulldozers all the sand back on the average beach, and it becomes more sandy again. Now, they've been testing some plants, like dunes, in Dutch dunes, to keep all the sand together. They've got about 4 different experimental areas on the beach. You can see them. It's about 5 meters by 5 meters, and they put different types of, grass or knolls, whatever there is, and to see which one will hold the sand the best.
Just to keep the sand in place.
Keep the sand in place. And I took a couple of pictures of them, and you see which one's successful, which one isn't in the summer and the winter. But yeah, every time the beach just blows itself off the actual area.
Tomorrow morning when I cycle to work, I've got to pick my line on road because the sand is so thick. If I cycle through a thick part and the front wheel goes, I'll end up under somebody's car.
Yeah.
So I usually stick to path as much as possible on my cycle to work.
Yeah. They put some shields to keep the sand away, but it just goes over.
Work. It don't work. So
it don't work and it don't matter.
Last week we had Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Did you do it?
What did I do? Well, what should I do?
Well, you
dance and sing?
Because I just want, because I'm not the most romantic of people, and I never have been. So when you were a whippersnapper and you were trying to get your end away, did you put in the effort?
I mean, just that sentence. It's the age of romance and the time of romance. When you wanted to get your end away.
Well, what would you say when you wanted to
have a romantic time with your lady friend or wife or girlfriend?
Get your end away.
Get your end away. It's Bradford poetry there, right there.
But
well, the thing we do in Holland is you buy some flowers for the person you like, and the price of flowers went through the roof.
Even in Holland, the home of the tulip.
Well, roses would be like 10 times the price. I remember my best mate who bought 100 red roses for his dying relationship, and I remember actually him giving it to her with a big smile. I think it was 18. This is for you. I said, oh, thank you. And to this day, we make fun of that comment. Oh, thank you. 100 roses, which at the time would be 10 times the price. It must have cost him a fortune. But no, you can give some tulips. You can give some herbs, some rosemary.
I don't think I've ever given a bunch of flowers to
No, I believe that. I believe 100%. A gesture to another human being. Yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask you if. Just give me one of the most romantic things you've ever done on a Valentine's Day, and I will give you 2 horror stories.
I'm sure there's no shortage of horror stories. Most romantic thing, I suppose, would be meeting the girl I was dating at the time back in uni.
On Valentine's
Day. And I'd say, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. And then going to a restaurant, and there was reservations made already, and I had flowers waiting for her with a note.
Jesus.
And Yeah, that was very nice. She was so impressed. We're 18, 19 years old, so that
what did you have written on note?
I can't remember. Well, it was some sort of love letter thing. I'm thinking about you, and it's nice to be together, and spending time together makes me very happy. And you're 18. You're going to make a poem out of the 18th century Byron.
I enjoy spending time with you.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, it's wonderful to be with you. Every time I see you,
it's making me feel nervous.
That's better than making you feel sick.
I feel sorry for you. Right, something like that.
No, it was just innocent stuff, and I think the reservation for the restaurant was the best part, because my old man, he suggested it. He said, "Well, pretend you've forgotten, and then give that, and you just overwhelm her." He didn't say you get your end away.
Did it work?
Yeah. She was very impressed and happy and giggly and lovey-dovey, and it was great.
Had you blown one up there before the Valentine's Day, or did the Valentine's?
I dread to think what you mean by that. Had you shot your bean loads up?
Yeah. Had you?
I think I was 19. See, I'd be sexually active, yeah, but limited. Yeah.
Had you been up that alley before though?
Yeah. She was. Good Lord, we're all on film as well. I don't know if I got into this, but she was from Suriname, so she was black, and we're both deeply in love. And there was an issue with a certain activity that she didn't want to do, and that pardon?
Anal. What are you talking
Laddie,
about?
Yeah, we're 18, 19. No. She didn't want to blow on the flutes, I think.
Right.
But I didn't have to smash a pasty, I think is the common expression.
I don't know what smash a pasty would mean.
And that did cause a bit of friction. But in those days, you're so in love. You're not experienced enough to talk about that. So you basically came up, why do you do this? And that kind of spelled the end of our romantic engagement.
So how far after Valentine's
New
Day?
shoes?
Well, I've just had a protein shake. How far after the Valentine's Day did it all go tits up?
Oh, a long time. I mean, in those days, if you're together for 6 months, that's an eternity. If you look back on those first relationships, 18, 19, you don't know anything really. You don't know anything. You're in love, and when you fall out of love, well, who's next? Kind of, it's very basic. But I think that was about 6 months. Yeah.
No, I would never
make anybody feel nice.
I would never taught I haven't got the romantic board in me. I can remember being out with my dad one day, and it was Valentine's Day, and
the romance really hit.
We'd gone out without my mother.
Just the two of you.
And the Valentine's Day were a Sunday. And
bit of a taboo, isn't it?
We went and did something together and left my mum at home. I think that's what my mum wanted as a Valentine's Day present, just to be left the fuck alone. So we were out, and I said to my dad, why don't you get my mother some flowers for Valentine's Day? And he said, if I do that, she'll think I've been doing something.
Oh, so all right. It'll be a guilt trip.
Yes. Well, no, she just said, what have you been up to? That's what he'd have got.
Yeah, out of guilt. Yeah,
there were never chocolates, there were never flowers, there were just a card.
What did it say on the card?
I don't know.
How are you?
There were always a card.
Yeah, right?
my mother were always up. She only needed a card. That's it.
And a voucher for the Arndale Centre.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You
£5 for the
Arndale Centre. But yeah, the Valentine's Day thing, I think it's all complete fucking bullshit. I never danced that dance. I did. The most romantic gift I ever got a woman was a course of rabies shots. Right? we were leaving on the 28th of February, and these rabies shots, you had to get 3 shots.
Rabies? I didn't know there was a shot for rabies.
There's a course of 3. And the last shot were on Valentine's Day. And I had to pay, and it were 140 quid each. So it was 280 quid for these rabies shots. So I went to doctors for the last booster on the 14th of February. And then as we're leaving, she said to me, what are we doing have you got me up for Valentine's Day? Where we going? And I said, I've just got you them fucking rabies shots. That's your Valentine's Day present. Right? Now, I think that is a more romantic present than
A
flowers
rabies shot.
or some chocolates.
Well, in Bradford, that would be up there, yeah.
Because we were going away to travel the world, and if you get bit by a stray dog, that is going to help you out until you sort yourself out in an hospital.
It's a death sentence,
right?
isn't it?
So I am preempting saving your life. Now, that to me is more romantic than a candlelit meal or a box of chocolates.
So you saved her life.
But she didn't seem to see it that way.
Wonder why. Did you set the dogs on her when you went to Thailand?
No, but when we got to Chile, we were walking through the streets of Chile. I think it must have been Santiago, and I don't know if you've ever been to South America, but there are fucking dogs everywhere.
Yeah, it's out of control.
And you've got to look where you're putting your feet because they're just asleep on path. And I was just walking and talking. I didn't say, and I stood on a dog, and it took a chunk out of my ankle.
Ouch!
And I said to her, "Oh, we've had rabies shots. It's all right." And she went, "No, we need to go." And I had to go and get another 3 lots of rabies shots.
What, in Chile?
In Chile, yeah.
What would that cost you?
It were only 12 quid.
Well, this is inflation for
ripping you off in England.
Yeah, but why did you get the shots in the first place then? If you're going to do it again,
if you get bit somewhere where it's not hospitally, is that whatever that word is? If there's no hospitals, right? It gives you time to get to a hospital.
Oh, okay.
And plus, so we were in South America about a year after we'd had the shots, and I wasn't sure how potent the rabies shots would have been. But yeah, that was about as romantic as I get.
Yeah, that's up there. I mean, who was that then? Do I know her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, the silent treatment that you get, and I'm thinking in 2 weeks' time I'm going to be spending a year with you, and not really anybody. I'm going to be traveling with you for a year, and you give me the silent treatment over a course of rabies shots.
Why didn't she pay for the rabies shots?
Because it was Valentine's Day, and I would be Mr.
No, why didn't you say, "Well, here's your rabies, it's your fee. You got to pay that"?
Well, I could have said that, couldn't I?
Well,
I said, all right, you pay the 140 quid, and I'll buy you a £25 meal.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's what you should have done.
No, but because of this certain lady, she wanted the rabies shots and the meal and the chocolates and the fucking
and the equality.
Yeah. So yeah, rabies shots. But when I left the military, I was 22 years old
in Nam,
right? And the alarm bells don't really ring when you've not had that coming of age in the UK. I sort of came of age in Europe and Canada, and the women are different there. So I got out of the military and I were home, and I was 22 years old, and me and my friends were in a nightclub, and I picked up this girl who if you say Canterbury Avenue to anybody from Bradford, they'll go, right? There are some rough estates. Buttershaw Homewood are the rough council estates in England.
Canterbury Avenue. It sounds very charming as an English Peter Rabbit kind of.
It's not Canterbury Estate. It's the avenue, right? Where's she from? Canterbury. Like, it's a
saying
something white trash neighbourhood.
Oh,
right.
A bit overqualified.
So, I said, "Where are you from?" She said, "Oh, Canterbury." She said, "You don't have an accent." Avenue. Oh, right, that makes sense. And she were a roughen, right? And it were behind back of dollars and dimes within 15 minutes. She was shaking on the maracas, right? And then I took her out for a meal the following.
Why doesn't he have to?
For Valentine's Day, I was trying to.
I think you're well in there.
Well, I was just trying to close the deal.
Or for marriage?
Now, what I did was, I said, right, I'll meet you here and we'll go and have an Indian meal. And she said, "Oh, that's great, because if we go there, my parents...
It's a honeymoon.
My parents are doing a job at a working men's club in Preston, so they're not going to be back." And I don't know what the job was. I don't know if they were a cabaret act or if they were going to rob the fucking place. But doing a job could mean anything in Bradford. So we went out for this Indian meal at the Shah Jahan, right?
The what?
The Shah Jahan.
Another exotic
It was on
location.
Manchester Road, and you got to impress her. I says, I'll order because, you know, there's this dish.
I know the language.
And he said, you got a Shah Jahan special. And it come in a glass dish. And it had all these stuff there.
Right, proper.
Yeah. But I don't know why I did it, because every time I had one, the next day, your fucking guts were all over the place. All over the place. So I ordered 2 of these things. And I think I must have done about 1.5 gallons of Kingfisher beer. So,
Kingfisher, yeah.
Do you remember?
I do.
And then we went into town, and I filled up the tank on Guinness and bitter. So,
I'm not sure how much you can blame the curry on this.
By the end of the night, so it's getting to about 11. She's like, "Shall we go home?" And you know when you've had a big meal.
Oh yeah.
And then you've stacked on Guinness,
open the hatch,
and Tetleys, and it's all swimming around in there. Yeah. And I want the nimblest of fellas. I want the lightest on the loafers, or a bit fat. So we went back to her place, and doffed off and got down to it. And the concentration I had to put in, not to shit myself.
Right.
While we were having it away, was
lovely
probably stuff. And not to fart.
Yeah, no, cardinal sin.
I was dying to fart and I needed a dump. And now I think this is a romantic thing to do. I did not fart and I did not shit her bed.
Well,
the concentration that I had to put in to do that, I think there should be some sort of medal.
A medal, right.
Given for that. Because, I mean, how long have you been married to your wife now?
Well, we've been together for 22 years. We've been married for 15 now.
So when you're having it away and you need to fart, do you just let it go?
Yeah.
While you're at it?
Yeah.
Does she?
I don't know.
So you just...
She's not conscious?
You just let it go?
Well, it's not a very long affair, that kind of thing,
well,
either.
You're not northern, are you? You don't fart like the...
No, but I fart what is... I don't know the regularity with it, but the chance of it having to happen at that time is small. My love making these, it doesn't last any hours anymore.
But if it does, you just...
Yeah, but after so many years of marriage, it's more
because it was like our second date, I just kept it in.
Oh, yeah, in the early days, I suppose you'd have to. But after years of marriage, a phone call, a thought, hang on, what do I have for dinner? A small conversation will interrupt anything.
But when we'd finished, I sort of rolled off. And it wasn't the afterglow of having sex. I would just lay there going, oh, thank fuck I didn't shit myself. Right? And
what an achievement.
And I thought, I pretended to be asleep within about 5 minutes, and I was thinking, is she asleep? Is she asleep? And as soon as I thought she was asleep, I stood up and went to the toilet and just blew.
Open the hatch.
Blew.
Yeah.
But do you
Bombs
know?
Away.
But when I stood up, because it was such an explosion, when I stood up, do you know when you sit down on a toilet, your arsehole's inside, whatever skin is inside the toilet seat. Oh, that was covered in shit.
Oh, your whole
the back of my
cheeks.
The back of my thighs, right, was covered. So I sort of stood up.
Lovely stuff.
And looked behind me, and it were dripping. And I were looking up on the ceiling because I thought, well, where's it coming? And it were coming from because I just...
Oh, I thought you look up the ceiling, you shut the ceiling as well.
And I thought, because I thought to myself, if I'd have thought, I'll just try to sneak one out here while we're doing it, I'd have just... Did you see on Trainspotting when they open the sheet?
Yeah.
It'd have been like that.
Well, I mean, you both had a few.
But those are the 2 times that I've been the most romantic on Valentine's Day.
I must say, the elasticity of your definition of the word romantic allows you to have a fair old romp, I think, as they say.
But I don't celebrate any festivals or any holidays at all.
Well, if you celebrate the way you celebrate that,
it's like a dirty protest.
Remind me not to be in your vicinity when you start celebrating.
Well, given the Valentine's Day that you used to see your mum and dad have? What did they
No,
used to
but
do?
it didn't. I mean, in Holland, it's an American thing and a British thing. More American than it is
Well,
British, I
I
think.
never saw my mum and dad doing out on Valentine's
I
Day.
don't think in Holland there isn't even today. Or maybe they now, of course, young generations did. I did celebrate it with a card or a flower. But all that buying candy and chocolates, that's all very Americanish.
I mean,
I,
Shima came home with some cheesecake.
was it Valentine's? It
Well,
was Valentine's.
that's the other reason she came home. But she got the
Mm.
kids something as well. You know what they bought them? What we bought them stuff for?
What didn't you want to buy a vacuum cleaner for Valentine's Day? Was that her birthday present?
No, I
Vacuum
once bought
cleaner.
my mum an iron for Christmas.
That is so classy. What did you get for my birthday? What a vacuum cleaner, a bread machine.
But yeah, we didn't do the wedding. We don't celebrate Christmas. The kids' birthdays we celebrate, but the only reason I celebrate mine is because my daughter's is the same day.
All right, yeah.
New Year's Day, no, I don't go to a temple. I'm not religious.
You could have fooled me.
My favourite was St. Patrick's Day.
Well, because it's a piss up.
Yes, but I've stopped drinking now, so that's gone a bit wayside.
St. Patrick's. I've had some good ones in Japan.
Yeah.
Never abroad because it wasn't a big thing in Holland.
But it's a big thing here, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's I used to look forward to St. Patrick's Day more than any other day of the year.
Yeah, it was a good
because
day.
Everybody's in on it.
Yeah.
And it's all about just getting pissed and listening to music.
Well, I mean, in Holland we have the Queen's birthday. I don't know if you've ever had the Queen's birthday.
Fuck that bitch.
No, but it's get out.
I'm talking about my queen.
There's no queen anymore. You have a king now. Your king. Anyway, the Queen's birthday has nothing to do with the Queen. It's just a huge. The whole country go. It's the St. Paddy's Day of Holland. Everyone dresses in orange, and you get drunk, and there's live music everywhere, and it's great. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
No, we never celebrated the Queen's birthday. The Jubilees they used to celebrate for some reason, and I don't know why.
No, but it's Queen's birthday. No one celebrates the actual Queen. I think she does go somewhere and visits a town or something, but no one cares. It's an excuse to have a good old
but the
knees up.
They can marry commoners there, and there's no problem, is there?
Well, our king married the daughter of a dictator's lackey. That Mexican, what's her name? Maxima. Her father was in the junta in the Argentinian nasty days. In fact, when you went to war with him, he was minister of. He wasn't minister of war. He was minister of culture, maybe, but he was still a minister in a junta.
He married somebody that wasn't Dutch.
No, she's Argentinian.
Wow.
Yeah, the daughter of this dictator. Not dictator. The daughter of a military minister. But he was Minister of Culture or something light. It wasn't Minister of Extermination. But he was in the junta. But he wasn't invited to the wedding. When they had a wedding, there was an empty chair, signifying the fact that we acknowledge that he isn't allowed to join this wedding.
Well, couldn't he just racked up and said, "My daughter's getting married"?
No, because of his connection to that military dictatorship in Argentina during those
in 70s.
Yeah, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
You finished it off basically. That. Falkland War ended that whole.
Not to do with me.
No,
not to do with me. But talking of the Argentinians, during that World Cup, there was still the England team when it went down during the national anthem. They were all singing "God Save the Queen," and you were already dead.
Yeah,
because it's going to take a long time. It's like going from saying 2010 to 2010.
Well, how old is the king now? How old is Charles?
70s.
So he's not going to last very long. There's no need to print new money or
well, they've
coins.
already done it on coins, haven't they?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think with that,
what a Commonwealth, they're going to print or make new coins, or they're just going to say, "Well, it's that time to sort of piss off now." I think.
Yeah. But I mean, he can't be lasting long, can he?
Well, it's got good doctors, but
I can't understand. I still can't understand the outpouring for it all.
Hysteria, mate.
She's dead. Good.
It's a big thing.
Good. The biggest fucking sponger from the British people has died, and you're crying about it. But there's another fucking 20 of them ready to step into her shoes,
waiting in the wings.
And the Harry and Meghan thing, I think he's coming to realise. Obviously, if he were a fucking bin man from Pontefract. He was never going to pull anybody like that Megan, were he? Not a ginger. And I think now he's finally come to realise, what the fuck have I done?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, he's tasted his freedom, I suppose, and he's got enough cash to back himself up for a while.
But do you think these average Joes that marry these really hot women, and then after about 6 months, it's like, really worth it?
Yeah.
All this fucking.
Yeah, but that often happens. It's the man who's been married for 40 years, gets divorced, has a young girlfriend of 21, and then realizes, actually, this is not really what I thought it'd be. But the guy who's still married thinks the same thing. That lucky bastard.
Yeah.
But they're both unhappy.
When I finished a 10-year thing, and then I became single here, it was fucking great for about.
Yeah, we've discussed this many a times now
for
on
a
this
year
cast.
And a half, but it's like the same when you get that bit of freedom, and then it gets. I got to about a year and a half, and I thought, oh well, this is just rubbing body parts together. It's not exciting anymore.
Well, it is what it is.
Got to that point.
Yeah, everything, you'll get used to anything.
Yeah. But you see these rock and roll stars, like, look at fucking women throwing themselves at them. You're flying all around the world. You're doing an hour and a half's work. You're snorting lines and popping pills.
But are you really happy?
Are you really happy?
Yeah.
Well, and then you see them get interviewed on podcasts or on telly. I wasn't really happy. It just what?
No, but there's a lot of truth in that. Yeah. I really believe that.
Yeah. 99.9% of the population are never ever gonna experience it.
No, but they want to dream about it. And that's why you have YouTubers just showing their cars and their hot women standing next to them because they know that most of the audience was, oh, that's what I want. That sells. Sex sells. Looking rich sells. Yeah.
But I suppose, in a certain way, I bet there must be some people out there would be a little bit jealous of what we're doing. Do you know if you were working in
I'm not sure about that one.
If you're working in a plastics factory in Bradford and getting minimum wage, anything is going to be a step up.
Right, compared to that, but that's
right. That's what I used to do.
What? Wrapping things in plastic?
I used when I first left the military, I couldn't get work, and I got a job in a plastics factory, and they were making these big plastic blowers, and they just used to pour the plastic pellets in and blow these big plastic bags, and then they'd cut them up into bags for Morrison's. Now I used to have to go around these machines, start one end of the factory, pull all the waste plastic out, take it over to a baler, crush it, bale it up, take it outside, and that was my job for about 6 months.
Wow, and that is soul destroying.
Awful. And in the morning, because all the plastic that was put by the baler during the night shift was warm, and rats would go in there at night and sort of nest in there because the plastic was warm. It was where they could get a warm place. So I'd pull the plastic out, and these rats would just shoot out. And that's, and there were no there were Walkmans, but you couldn't walk around the factory in them because of the health and safety. You couldn't hear a radio because of all the noise. And I was just watching a press go down and up and down and just putting the plastic in, and then I'd have to go and get more.
Well, compared to that,
that's what I'm saying. That was my lowest. And then I left there to go on bins. that were an amazing.
And you reached
step
the top.
Up. That were an amazing step up. I love that fucking job.
Reaching for the stars, out of the gutter.
You'd start at 8 and you'd finish at 2. And just driving bin wagons.
Yeah, it's a good job. I mean, it's and we should all respect that, because without those people, that city would quickly crumble into.
But that's what I'm saying. There is people that will be jealous of what you're doing and what I'm doing. So I can't.
So you want to punch down here?
No, I'm not punching down. I'm just saying I will always be happy here because I've done a lot worse. I mean, what's the worst job you've had? That can't be. You can't have had a worse job than
Worst
that.
job. Well, I have done the worst job is where, and in that job, I think everybody on my little team of 5 quit within a day. I was the only one who did 2 days, and I quit after 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're sent by this. Being a uni student, they send you as fresh meat to these tough gigs on the harbour, and temp work in the summer, and it was we had to filter Arabian gum.
What's gum?
Gum. What is it? Gum.
Yeah.
Gum, like the little rocks, the amber rocks, and they make chewing gum out of that later.
Yeah.
And they came in a 50-kilo sacks, and we had to use this machine to filter out some of the dust, and then only the big stones would remain. These beautiful kind of amber-looking rocks, Arabian gum, and filter in these sacks. And it was 25 kilos would come out of these sacks, and you had to pull them and put them on a pallet about 10 meters away, and that was it. Just keep on filling these sacks as the machine would shake off all the dust. And it was so heavy because it was 7 hours of that, carrying 25k sacks. And we're collapsing by the dozen doing this. And after the first day, and the foreman said, "All right, I'll see you all tomorrow, same time. Come on, boys, tough boys. You're all tough guys, aren't you, tough guys?" The other said, "Well, fuck this." Told him to piss off in his face. And I said, "Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow." Work is work. It isn't hard work. They're going to pay me. And then I saw my first paycheck.
What did you get for
I think it was still guilders. It was about 9 guilders, which is about £4 a day.
For the day?
No, for per hour.
Per hour?
Yeah. Which was under the minimum. Sorry, that was the minimum wage you could get at that age. And that broke my back almost. And I was fit as a fiddle.
But they would have found somebody to do that job, wouldn't they?
Well, the next day, I mean, the guy said, "Well, most of you won't continue to stay."
Yeah. So did they pay the people that had just done the one day?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The temp agency. But the guy, the temp agency guy, because they're all sly fuckers, I hated them. They said, "Yeah, you're going to do a tough day's job because you're a tough guy." And they're sort of preying on the element of, "Oh, you're a tough boy, aren't you?"
Yeah.
But, "Oh, so I'm supposed to do this, and aren't you a tough guy?"
Yeah.
Whereas they were sitting behind a desk, just getting all these bonuses. And there's, send me those details. When can you work more? When can you do extra work? And then don't forget to send me your bank account because all your money's going to come in, as if you're getting huge money. And you're making peanuts out of really hard physical labor. Well, it just dregs. Scumbags, these temp agency people.
Imagine if you were still doing that now.
I'd be dead.
Yeah.
Absolutely dead.
You'd be ripped.
That would have broken you in so many ways.
Yeah, so it's always, whatever I do here, it's always better than what we're doing back there.
Oh, certainly, yeah. Physical labor, it just doesn't pay. I used to think that hard labor really pays, and it doesn't. It's unskilled physical labor. It's the lowest, of course.
Saying that, when I was doing the tarmacking, I was making a fucking fortune doing that.
Yeah, that'll probably be through a private company.
Well, about 20 years ago, I was making about 700-800 a week.
That's good money, yeah.
But you'd be doing a road, you'd be tarmacking over some gas pipes on a road, and somebody'd go, "Can you just do my fucking drive for me?" So there'd be 3 of us, and you'd just put the spare tarmac he'd do and do his drive, and that's 500 quid.
Wow, yeah.
Loads of that all the time.
Yeah. You wouldn't see much of that in Japan because everyone's so strict by the book.
Yeah, you'd never see any of that in Japan.
No gypsy activities like that.
So when you called me yesterday to do this podcast, I thought you were going to be some big announcement that you'd had some health scare or something, because I've not seen you here on this podcast since July.
It's been a while, yeah.
I thought, I can't be just calling me around because he's got a yeast infection. I thought he got cancer or something. I thought there
I'd like to take this opportunity that I've actually...
a big medical announcement.
No, just busy with work, man. Just covered myself in extra jobs. I've never been so well off, to be honest, which is nice. Mentally, I feel quite secure financially.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of work and trying to cherry pick now the best gigs and bits and pieces.
Well, before this podcast, we were talking about, weren't we? I've just got rid of the fucking dead wood now.
Yeah, you're cutting the fat off.
You feel lighter, don't you? when you get shut at shite.
Yeah, it's nice to have some good little gigs that pay well, and then you're in a position where you can say, well, okay, this one, yeah, okay, guys, I'll quit this. That's a very fortunate and a nice position to be in.
And that's 25, 30 years ago, I couldn't have done any of that.
But it might be also age. When you're a bit older, you feel more secure in saying no to something.
But we wouldn't have been able to earn this kind of money when we were in his early 20s.
No, but that's normal. Anybody in the older you get, the more money you're going to be making, saving and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm so not spending it all on booze and.
But this is the thing. I'm finally having a holiday in the summer, and you're having one 2 weeks time.
Yeah, a week and a half.
And when was the last time you went abroad?
Well, the corona pandemic did put a stop to traveling. No, my last trip was Taiwan 3 years ago, almost to the dot, and that was on the back of another 2 years in between holidays as well. But then I did make a decision in my life to live in Kamakura because it's sort of combining holiday and work, because this is a kind of a holiday area.
How many years have you been down here now?
This will be my, was it 3.5 now?
In what, in August did you move down? Did you move
down August, in the summer? August 2019, yeah.
Wow, so 4 years.
Coming up to 4 years, yeah, 3.5.
I remember when you came down before 2019 and I showed you around, didn't I? You remember?
Yeah, but I've been there many a times. I was always shocked at how much there is to do here. How much it's never a boring day. You can take your pick of what you want to do,
and the city is great. Tokyo is fucking great.
That's amazing.
But there comes a time, isn't there, when you've got to be out.
I think it's also the temptation, and there's a lot of temptation in Tokyo. Yeah. You can drink, you can have a party any time of the day or night. You know, a Tuesday morning, there's a place open where you can get hammered, and there'll be other people who are getting hammered.
Yeah.
But yeah, the hangovers, the the interruptions with work. Yeah. It's not a good place for that.
Going to work with hangover is no good.
I haven't done that for a long time.
Yeah, but being here, like we've said it many times, it's probably one of the better decisions I've made.
Yeah, it's influenced me a lot. Yeah, and my wife.
And plus the people that were a bad influence to you up in Tokyo, they've got to make the effort to come down here, haven't they?
Well, yeah.
Usually some of them don't want to do that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to each their own. Now, people, I'm sure there's, you're living in Tokyo, that's great. But yes, living here has made my life much, much better. Yeah. Seeing that view. Yeah. All the time, just being surrounded by
I've never lived
nature.
I've never lived next to the sea for
ever
my entire life. And then I moved here. I lived in Australia, and just to be away and near the sea, it's fucking calms you.
Yeah,
for some reason, it really does.
It's soothing.
Yeah,
it's soothing. Looking back on some of the moments in Tokyo, when I think, oh, that's I'm happy to survive some of those those moments,
because it's just everything's on you, everything's around you all the time.
Yeah,
you can't. Obviously, they've got these really nice green spaces in Tokyo, but you just go in there to get away from it for 20 minutes, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's very artificial. The grass is cut exactly to this, and the trees there. It's very kept nature.
That park in Shinjuku is really nice, but it's fake.
Yeah, artificial.
And Yoyogi Park is nice, but everybody's going there.
Yeah, but it's the only place to go unless you get out of Tokyo. You can go to West Tokyo. There's some nice nature.
But I mean, here you find something different every day if you went and looked for it.
Yeah. Now I'm sure our listeners don't want to hear how nice it is here. They want to hear about some shit stuff.
I'm going to have to fuck off now anyway, because I've got to send another couple on their merry way down the aisle. So I'm going to have to leave in 5
some of their
minutes.
Eternal bliss.
I sent somebody got married this morning and they had a ring dog. So it's like ring dog no nuja desu.
Is that a metaphor?
Well, you do it in the rehearsal, the dog runs straight to him. And then you do it during the wedding. Ring dog no nuja. Right, here's the ring dog at the fucking door.
Ring dog.
And the dog comes in, it sees all the people in the crowd, which it didn't see before, and it jumps up on every hooker. The rings fall off and spill out everywhere, and Yeah, never works. So I've got that
So
again.
here's some
this
advice
afternoon.
to you, listener.
Yeah, if you want to come over and get married in Japan, I'm your man.
Don't get a ring dog.
A
ring dog. It sounds like a tropical disease. Like some sort of anal rough worm coming out.
I've had ring dogs, ring cats. I've had a ring hamster, parrot.
I had an itchy anus.
A parrot. Yep. Everybody and kids that start crying, all that sort of shit. And that's what.
You ever had a punch up?
No, but I had
in Japan, not in Bradford. I'm sure that's a given. Punch up at a wedding. Yeah.
I've had to tell a fella to put his phone down. He were on a call while I'm doing the vows, and he wasn't being quiet about it. And I had to say, look, put your phone down. And
I'll come at you.
I know he came at me after the wedding, having a go at me.
Really?
And there's videos going on here, and your friends are getting married, and they don't swear, they just like, piss off, fuck off.
Oh, I didn't think they have the balls to do that.
But he wouldn't. He were about in his 60s, and he were outside when everybody's going in. He were on his phone outside the chapel, and then the bride and groom turn up, and they wanted to start it, but they couldn't start because he's on his phone. So he switched his phone if he goes in. I went in, and then doing the vows, he's on his phone again. Right.
Well, was he paying for the whole thing, or
he wasn't even a family member; he was just a guest.
Good Lord!
Yeah,
that's some big balls to do that at a wedding.
But I shut him up, and the singer would tell me, "Oh, you really embarrassed him in front of everybody." What? And then,
well, there is that in Japan, saving face.
But this is the most important day of their lives, and he's on the fucking phone. What's more important? Anyway, the company I worked for at the time were 100% behind me, but they had to apologise to the chapel, and the chapel didn't want it. The chapel did not want apologising to. They said, "Oh, he did the right thing," but they still came down and apologised.
Well, that's also Japan for
you.
Yep,
that is Japan. Right, so Duncan's not dying.
Well, not that I know of.
So we'll get if you can do this even more, that'll be great. If not,
let's find a small hole, as we often say.
It was Valentine's Day. Well, that makes us sound like a couple of paedophiles, doesn't it?
Let's find a small hole. Just on a day off.
Right. Let's stop this before the police kick the door in.
Operation.
Right. I'll see you later.
Bonjour.